Okay. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. So, I am Uma Sri. I'm your host for this enlightening and engaging English webinar for the month of November. So, it's my pleasure to guide you through this virtual gathering who are passionate about to learn how emotional intelligence lead to success in the workplace. So, let me first begin with introducing our speaker for today. Our esteemed speaker, who is expert in this field, who will generously share his knowledge and practical experience with us. So before that, let me introduce Dr. Edward Chan. He has a PhD in psychology, Masters in Science in Learning, and also Masters in Nutritional Medicine, and also Bachelor's Honors in Psychology. Is also fellow of the Malaysian Association for Psychotherapy. Is also the board member of the International Society for Psychotherapy, Counseling and Psychiatry, fellow of the World Council for Psychotherapy, invited speaker by LPPKN, Ministry of Women and Social Unity, Family Health Forum. Is also the invited speaker for the 5th World Congress for Psychotherapy, a keynote speaker for the International Psychotherapy, Counseling and Psychiatry Conference, an invited speaker for the 37th European Psychiatry Conference on Couple Schema Chemistry, author of Love May Not Be Enough, co-author of Handbook of the Current Research and Practices on Cognitive Behavior Therapy, CBT in Asia. He have published in the Journal for Reattach Therapy and Developmental Diversities, published in the Journal Cognitive Theory and Research, published in the International Journal of Psychiatry. Is also an accredited reattach therapist and accredited MN clinic therapist. So without further ado, I think Dr. Edward have joined our webinar as well. Hello, Doctor. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you. Yes, how about yourself?
Good as well, Doctor. Thank you. So I think we have so far we have a few participants already joined. Others are joining in as well. So let me start with the first question. Since we're talking about emotional intelligence, Doctor, can you define what is emotional intelligence?
Yes, that is important point, right? Because people think emotional intelligence is to do with emotions, being emotional, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, and that is only one part of it. It is not about being emotional actually, but about regulating your emotion, right? So there are a few steps to emotional intelligence, right? One is that it will start with being aware of your emotion, right? So this is what we call emotional literacy. And that can be developed, right? So first of all, we need to also make a distinction between emotional intelligence, which is shortened as EQ, right? To distinguish that from IQ. So the two are not the same, right? People with high EQ do not necessarily have high IQ, and vice versa. In fact, that there are many, as shown in some of the popular series in television, like the Big Bang Theory. You have Sheldon, who seems to have high IQ but very low EQ, it seems, right?
Yeah.
So that distinction need to be made. So being aware of your emotions is being aware of emotions, your own emotion and other people emotion would be the first thing, right? And then regulating your own emotion, so that you express the emotions that is appropriate for the situation, and also to be able to relate to others, to manage others emotions as well. So therefore there is what we call the intrapersonal aspects of emotional awareness, and then regulating your own emotion, and then also the interpersonal aspects in terms of being aware of other people's emotions, and then helping to regulate that, right? So these are the basic components of EQ, emotional intelligence, which can be trained and developed from young, in fact.
Mm. I think, Doctor, some people might have this question when you talk about emotional literacy. Is it, as you said, it can be learned and developed, or is it
Mm.
also a quality that consider innate trait or a personality that people are born with?
Well, there is something called personality,
Mhm.
right? And in IPC, the International Psychology Center, we have both the EEQ test as well as the personality test.
Mhm.
So in terms of personality, that there are people that are using emotions more, like for example, in terms of making decision, right? So the versus people who use logic more in terms of making a decision, right?
Mhm.
So there might be some correlation because of people who are using emotions more in terms of making decisions. So these people might be more emotionally attuned, in terms of their own emotion and in terms of others. So to this extent, that there is some innate basis, right, to EQ, because personality are basically innate, right?
Mm.
That the people who are what we call high F, right? Those with feelings versus those with a high T, those who are with logic and thinking. It is basically innate. That is not to say that you cannot develop the underdeveloped part of your personality, right? So that can still be done, but EQ would be highly environmentally developed. That there would be some innate element of it
Mhm.
in terms of there's something in our brain called mirror neurons, right? That normal people would have. That there's a interesting experiment. I mean, mirror neuron basically is, if I smile to you, right? Like now, you would, which is why we encourage everyone to turn on their camera so we can interact with you visually, right? So if you see me like smiling to you, then your mirror neuron will automatically respond, and you will smile back, right? So this is like a mirror, which is in most of us. And there's a very interesting experiment whereby the person was, we have a group of subjects that are blind, right? And we would so the experimenter would smile at these blind people, and interestingly enough, they smile
Yes,
back
sir.
also, right? Even though they
Interesting.
cannot see.
Yeah.
So what do you think that imply?
So mirror neutron not necessarily work through our senses, which is especially the eyes here, Doctor.
Well, yeah. So not only can we detect emotions
Mhm.
visually, but somehow we can also uh, detect its maybe the tone of voice or something. When we smile, we our tone soften or something. So there are many ways that we can also detect emotions, right?
Mhm.
So the experimenter would ask these blind people, right? What do you see something, that give this response of you smiling back. So they don't necessarily see anything, but somehow they detect something that trigger them to smile. Right. So in that sense, that there is this innate feature in most of us, right? And that there are the studies showing that a certain population, like those with ASD, autism spectrum disorder, psychopath, might be lacking in some of these mirror neurons, which would then suggest that the ability to empathize might be lessened, right? In some of these population sample, right? So that is a complex question of physical versus nurture, right? Yes, good to see you, Richard and Natalie. Helps with our mirror neuron to see that.
All right,
To see you.
doctors. Yeah, I think most people might be asking now, since you say this is something could be learned, we want to know the application. But before we go into it, I would like to know, doctor, are there any evidence or supporting details that connect the link between emotional intelligence and the success in the workspace?
Oh yeah, for sure. There are research correlating that the higher, like more senior position management, would be linked to the higher level of EQ, right? Yeah, emotional intelligence, right?
Okay.
Compared to the lower level workforce. That's one thing. And the other research is that the higher your EQ, it was found that the more loyal you are in a company. In other words, you will stay longer in a company, and work longer. So, which is why a lot of companies, when they recruit, they want to recruit those people with higher EQ. One is for loyalty, and the other one is for performance, right? So that they are able to perform better and move higher in the seniority of the workplace. I mean that is not surprising, since given that the higher EQ, you'll be able to manage your emotions better. You're able to interact better with others, your internal clients as well as your external clients, right? At work. So that definitely all these correlations of EQ and at the workplace, right?
This doctor. So from this, can I conclude that there is a difference between an effective and ineffective leaders with the emotional intelligence, doctor?
Yes, you that definitely can say that, right? You would it'll be more satisfying for you to work under a boss with a high EQ versus one with a lower EQ,
Lower EQ.
for sure, right? So in terms of job satisfactions and all, there are this research as well, right? Yeah.
Right. Thank you, Doctor. Also, you mentioned earlier when we were talking about the definition of EQ, you mentioned about the intrapersonal, about being aware of our own emotion. So now, Doctor, my question is, how does self-awareness contribute to success in the workplace?
Well, we need to make the distinction between self-awareness and emotional awareness of your own emotions, right? So your own emotional awareness is part of self awareness, but being aware of your emotion is only the first step, right?
Okay.
Then we you need to regulate your emotions. But of course, if you do not even be aware of your own emotions, say you are angry, you're not even aware of that, then of course you cannot regulate anything. So being aware is the first thing, right? Then the next is then to be able to regulate that emotions, right? Regulate it, that doesn't mean that you don't express the emotion, right? Like at the workplace, if someone violated your rights, right? So you can maybe express your displeasure. Look, I feel angry about, you're not pulling your weight here, as per our agreement in the meeting. So you're able to express these emotion on anger. It doesn't mean that you express appropriately, right? It doesn't mean you shout at your colleague or anything like that, but you're able to then tell your colleague if your rights have been violated, in the team, for example, right? And when you do that, then it would have the effect of others respecting you more. Whereas if you're just being a doormat, people violate you, do not pull on your weight, and you don't say anything, then people will continue doing that, and you'll be stressed out. And of course, there's also a big link between stress and emotional intelligence. So the more stress we will have, the less able we are able to then regulate our emotions, right? So we need to look after manage our stress as well. And in fact, part of um, the item of emotional intelligence. So we have an emotional intelligence test that was created by a psychologist called Baron. So it's called a Baron EQ test. So maybe if you have the report, you can share that, a sample report. So part of the item tested is indeed stress management, right? Whether you are able to manage stress, right? So that would be yeah. So if you look at the figure, I think if you scroll further down, you should be able to see okay, here, right? So if you look at further at the bottom there, yeah, stress management, you can see composite, and under the stress management, that there is like 3 items, being flexible, like adapting your emotion to different situation, being highly tolerant of stress, having a positive attitude and outlook, right? So these are all these items will be helpful for you to maintain a high EQ, right? And we can talk about other components as well, right? Yeah. So we can actually, if you look at the top again, you can have exactly the 130. If you go back down, so this is like your total EQI, right? But that so this might be quite high, because like average would be like between 990 ish to 110, right? So this person we can consider to have a high EQ. But then these need to be analyzed in terms of the different components, right? So the advantage of doing a test like this then is that you are aware which component you or your team might be low in, right? And therefore training and development can be done on those lower parts. So to identify opportunities, right? So this is what we call the individual EQI. We have a youth child version of this as well. This is the adult one. But we also have something called well, first of all, for this one, I don't know whether it is shown here. If you scroll further down, you can see the consistency index and positive and negative projection score, right? So if you so what this is to see how valid your result is. It's a bit like a lie detector, right? So it's right at the probably it will be in the coach version of the report. I don't know whether this is the patient version or the coach version, right? So we do have something that we can know. We have used this test, for example, in court case, right? someone might want to have a claim, an insurance claim or something like that, and we can tell whether the result is reliable or not, because that's a score for consistency, whether the person is over projecting their positive emotions, well, for financial gain or whatnot. So this tests have this advantage, right? And then just now you were scrolling a lot about opportunities for training, right? So anyone interested that can reach out to us for this test. This is one way that we can like track your own and your team members emotional intelligence for the workplace, right? So we have courses that certified anyone interested to use this instrument in the IPC courses.
Right. I think this bring me to another question, Doctor. Are there some other practical ways to access and measure emotional intelligence in the workplace beside the EQ test?
Well, then the more subjective one would be to look at the impact, right? That you can see how you are like triggered, and whether you are able to regulate your emotions when you are triggered, right? And also you can observe those in your team members, whether you see people like losing it, or they even isolated themselves. So going back to the point about the blind people experiment, right?
Mhm.
So this is why we can say emotions are infectious, right? So you can walk into a room, and if other people are happy or optimistic, before long you also feel the same way. Or if they are like down or very depressed, you will also be infected, right? So they've done a lot of experiments on that, and which is why EQ is very important for organization, right? Because if you have a bunch of people that are very pessimistic and things, and then before long the whole organization will be infected, right? So it will be as infectious as COVID probably, right? So that is the reason, right? Not only based on what we see, what we hear, somehow we will be able to detect other people's emotions, and it would affect us because of our mirror neurons, right? Yeah. So this is how we can maybe practically know about emotional intelligence of ourselves and others, to see, not only whether we are triggered, affected, but whether we are able to regulate our emotions when we are triggered, regulate, express them constructively or not, and whether our colleagues, our superiors are able to do the same or not. So that would be more on a practical, subjective level, short of measuring it. And I was going to say, for the instrument just now that you saw, the EQI, Baron UKI, we also have a 360 version. All right, which means not only you answer the questions, it's like 100 over questions that you can answer on your own, but you also give the same questions to your colleagues to answer. All right, even to your customers to answer, to your superior. Then we have a 360 perspective of your EQ, right? That is more comprehensive, more reliable, and we can also do interdepartmental EQ, interorganizational. We can have the results of a group, people, a team collapse it and then compare, right? Overall EQ between various teams that might be valuable, right? Maybe you have organizations that have different sub-organizations, and you want to see how they're all performing, right, in terms of EQ. So that can also be done in using some of these instruments, and that will also lead opportunities for training. So we provide this opportunity in Malaysia. We have this HRD, Human Resource Development Corporation, right? Which come out with a grant, the HRDF, Human Resource Development Fund. So this training we have make it available, accredited by HRDC organization that want not only to do the test but the training as well. So that a lot of opportunities that we have made available, for the public to do this, and all this training can be done online, right? As well, preferably with the camera on. Yes. Good.
Yes, Doctor. Talking about training, I think EQ is something we all familiar of since since school we have been taught on how to increase our IQ. But how about EQ, Doctor? Is it something easier for us to learn and adapt to understand our own self and control and regulate this emotion,
Yes.
or it's a very long process to tackle it?
Yeah. As you might know, some of our students that they know this thing called childhood core needs, right? So we have one of the need is emotional nurturing, right? So if the child get this, then yes, you would have the basis. So when we bring up a child, it starts there, right? So when the child is like feeling frustrated, as a parent, as a guardian, you want to reflect that back. I can see that you are feeling frustrated because you cannot do this thing, right? Then the child would be able to be aware. So this is what the emotion is: frustration. Or the child is happy, jumping up and down. Right? You reflect that back. I can see that you are feeling happy that you are able to do that, right? So it starts from childhood, definitely, increasing emotional literacy, but unfortunately, this is not in the parenting handbook. So a lot of parents do not realize the importance of that, reflecting back emotions to children, or even teachers in school. They might not do that. It's not in the teacher training as well, I would imagine. So it falls down to to the child therapists, and that's why in a lot of our IPC, the certified courses, we talk about that, in play therapy, in art therapy, music therapy, to help reflect and build the emotional literacy from young. But of course, missing that, it is still possible to develop EQ at a later age, right? Even for adults, which is why we have all these courses for corporate as well, right? To be able to understand your own emotion, to empathize with others, right? And using EQ to manage a team more effectively. So I would say more and more at the workplace, IQ is sort of taken for granted. People, most people have the qualification for a job, but what is more interesting, that will give you additional advantages is EQ, right? And I would suggest to organizations to use EQ, as an additional way to recruit, develop your team, right? In addition to the IQ, which is pretty standard already, right?
Yes. Another factor, Doctor, when talking about success in the workspace, right, it's about motivation, how people are naturally inspired to accomplish the goals, their own task. So is it
Yes,
motivation related with emotional intelligence?
very much. If you go back to the sample report just now, I believe that there's a part that is linked to motivation, right, by the Baron that you can see. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Maybe this is
Right.
a different report, Doctor.
Yeah, if you go back to the graph, yeah, further down, right, you can see the, let's see, okay, certificate independence, go down, so we don't see motivation there as such, like, well, you can see it related to a number of things, right? Like problem solving, maybe well, you can see in terms of self-actualization, right? At the top there, right? Pursuit of meaning and self-improvement. All this is linked to motivation, right? So with a person with a less high EQ, that will not have this maybe as much, self-actualization. So for them is the motivation is not internally, what we call internally directed. Whereas with a person with a high self-actualization to pursue meaning and self-improvement, it is internally directed, right? So that being the case, this person with a higher EQ will be more motivated that therefore in the job, right? Rather than just relying on compensation, more money and other perks, there will be more internally motivated to improve in to have a meaningful work life, right? So as a boss, then you will need to ensure this is available, right? That there are opportunities for learning, for the meaningful, for helping others, right? So a lot of motivation is, your goal need to be larger than yourself. That would have some meaning in it, not just making more money, but you are actually helping others, right? Then the person will be more motivated, right? That is related to these aspects, right?
Yes, thank you, Doctor. So before I proceed to the next question, let me invite ladies and gentlemen, if you have any question, you may write in the chat box. We may also write your name. So later during our Q&A session, you can unmute your mic and then ask or write in the chat box, okay? So Doctor, when talking about leaders, employee, bosses, I'm very sure those who are listening to our webinar now are those not only the employee, but also the employer. So for those, as you shared earlier, we do have training, but if they're interested in a very large group or small group, are there any requirement for their staff to be, under IPC's training to test on the EQ component or to train their staff to develop more EQ in them, Doctor?
So your question is whether that there is any program that we
Any
have for
programs
this.
or requirement that they should be in a very large group or small group for such training?
Um, well, yes, for the best results in terms of size, that there is a optimum size, right? I mean, anything more than one is fine. Then you have a group, right? But the group cannot be too large, otherwise you lose the quality. So something like 16 or so, I think will be near the limits, so that we have good quality interaction. With team, we can do role plays, small group activities, right? So all this can be done within, and also we can have a chance, and also so the training normally would be like a few days, so there's a chance in between session. You don't have to like do it successively over a few days. It can be like spread out, 1 day a week or something, so that there's a chance to then look at your results, and also implement some practices in between, right? For that, so that's would be how we recommend for the training, and ideally we do this test before the training. We can send the link over, and participants then can do the test.
That's interesting, Doctor. I'm very sure for those who are interested, want to know regarding your EQ or your staff's EQ, so you can contact us. So it's International Psychology Center. You can visit our website, www.counseling.com.my, or you can just simply go to Google, type International Psychology Center. You can have our phone number. Then you can just contact us, and we'll help you and your staff. So, Doctor, I received a message in the chat box. So there's a question. What can we do if one of our co-workers almost gonna lashed out at work? How can we advise them? So that's the question from Zulu.
Right. So the first step is to provide a mirror to them, right? So you can say something like, I can see that you are feeling very angry. Okay, so that is the first step. So that awareness that reflected upon them would then give them some possibility of regulation. The second thing is validation, right? So validation means you tell the person, the team member, that you understand why they are feeling angry. Okay, it doesn't mean you agree with them about that the anger maybe is unreasonable, doesn't matter, but you still understand from their perspective, right? That it makes sense to me that you feel very angry about this matter, right? Yeah. So then you can check. I mean, you don't want to assume that it is anger. Maybe it is some other emotion. Did I get you right? That you were feeling very angry now, Zoe, right? So you would ask and see what is the reply from your colleague. Right, so that she might say, yes, you're totally right. I don't know whether, Zoe, you have like a more specific context or example of this situation, or we don't have to name names, but that would give us like more.
Yeah, perhaps a scenario that you've encountered before that you'd like to share.
Mhm.
You can unmute. So then they can.
Yeah, I do have like an experience that when we're working with someone, they seem to have problem processing what we try to tell them. And at the end of the day, they got like very frustrated because they don't get the whole picture, no matter how we explain to that person. Let's say person A. So
Right.
they're not sure how should I confront her because I also don't understand why she don't understand what am I talking about. So how should we go about if we are in this kind of situation?
Right. So then it seems like the frustration and maybe anger is through not through the possibly not getting the contents. All right. So the first step in communication, of course, is the contents. Right. So maybe we can do a little bit of role play here, Zoe. So say I am this person A, right? And you're telling trying to tell me something. All right. So let process the content to show you how we do it, right? So you can either give that the example or some other example. Give it a go, Zoe, and tell me what do you need me to understand.
Wait, let me think. Okay, for example, we're having this project A. I will need you to submit a report
Mm-hmm.
for this postmortem so that we can know what's going on with the project and how it's performed.
Okay, hold on. Right. So you need to teach the person when you give the information, the contents, right? To before it gets too much, too long, to pause and repeat back to you, right? If you notice in when you go to restaurant, the good restaurant, the waiter always repeat back, let me just repeat your order, right? So you want to do the same, right? Before too much, right? So let me see whether I got you right. You want me to produce a report of the post mortem, no, of this project when it's finished, to see what is the opportunity or something that can do. Did I get you right, Zoe?
Yes, you did.
Fantastic.
So okay, so it's going to get like a little bit technical, but so what happened was I tried to explain to her how to extract the report,
Right.
but
Mm.
she keeps on saying that the system is wrong rather than understanding the system itself.
Right. So the same thing when you convey this content, right? You need her to like repeat back bit by bit, to see whether she got it right. And once all the content is confirmed that she's able to get right, then all she need to do is just to execute that accordingly. Then you can monitor which part has been executed, which part is not, right. And if she has indeed managed to follow all the steps and she still do not get the results, then maybe the system is wrong, right? But we do not know if until she's able to follow all the steps, but first of all we need her to understand the step and to convey to you that she got the step, right? So this is the way to have repetition, of the small chunks of the information until until she, you can confirm, yes, everything is complete, or the instructions has been attended. Then let's see whether then she can execute it. So therefore, getting the content is the first part, but then even that needs to be, there's a process, right, of repeating chunk by chunk, to confirm with the sender that it is correct, and then we go to execution, right? And then if it's all the content has been acquired and has been executed and it's still wrong, then maybe there's something wrong with the system. Right.
Actually, the thing is, it takes a lot of time to break down each situation to her. So I'm just wondering, and sometimes before we managed to break everything down. We are in the middle of it, and she starts to lash out because she thinks that it's a little bit too insulting to do that to her. She feels like she actually understands it, but
Right.
we don't
So
understand
then there are the other aspects of EQ coming in, right? She feel insulted. You know, she has a fragile ego, right? She may have what we call, for those of our students, you know about the schema. These are your psychological program from young, right? So she might have a defectiveness schema, right? Somehow during the upbringing, you know, teachers or parents telling her she's useless or whatnot, right? Then she already have this schema, that therefore she is quite sensitive to the when you try to like you know. So it might be better in that case to do this like privately, right? The breakdown, if it's in a group, then um she might feel, you know, she doesn't have the face, right? When that how come she's the only one that is slow. So you need to look after that as well, right? In terms of her vulnerability. And so this is indeed one part, Uma, that, you know, the connection between schema, you know, childhood program, psychological program we have, and emotional intelligence, right? Those with a defectiveness schema, vulnerability to harm schema, mistrust abuse schema, right, would have more issues with EQ, because those need also to be the addressed and attended to, right? So that they might be able to control regulate their emotion less, or indeed other people's emotion as a result of this schema, due to certain childhood core needs that were not met, you know, that we were hinted on just now.
Thank you,
Thank
Doctor.
you, Doctor.
Are there any other
No worries.
questions from the floor? From viewers today? Anything you'd like to clarify? Like to know your signs? So while waiting for the questions, Doctor, so it just come in my mind, you know, some people, they cannot let go, they won't admit their mistake, they cannot accept. And now I think from what Doctor have shared with that scenario, it will all link to the signs of having less emotional intelligence. And as us who have joined this webinar, can I say that instead of being angry back at them, thinking like why you can't accept mistake, but then uh change the way how we think, saying that, or maybe they have defectiveness in terms of their emotional intelligence, so that we can regulate our emotion better, Doctor? Is that a good way?
Well, yeah, understanding their schema is one thing. We know that they have this vulnerability, right? But that also, as their colleague or superior, then it is also an opportunity on how we communicate the mistake back to them, right? So another schema is failure schema, isn't it? We have that, right? So you know, maybe Macy or you can show some of this schema card, you know, for those who do not know what we're talking about. And we have the books related to that, Reinventing Yourselves, right, by Jeffrey Young, and also my paper published in the Journal of Cognitive Research and Therapy. So then we need to give the feedback, right, about the mistake in a way, not conveying it as a failure, right? that you have failed in this task, but rather conveying it as a feedback. Yes, failure schema indeed, maybe Macy, you can read out what it says. So these are like cards for patients, for clients to share. I don't know what are these failure schema say, Macy?
The failure schema basically said they believe that one is inadequate, has failed, or will inevitably fail, often believed themselves to be less successful than others, inept, stupid, or untalented.
Exactly. So this is already the program, the person is having, and then you and also you need to be careful in how you convey the mistakes, because they're already sensitive, that they feel that inevitably they will fail, right? And this is all resulted from what happened during childhood, right? When parents or teachers say, you are always failing, you're useless, then this is how they get the schema. Where it become where like now as an adult, this is an opportunity for improvement, right? So the mistake is the feedback is given as feedback rather than as criticism, right? Then that would be taken in a more constructive manner. So we can say something like, it seems that there are certain opportunities here in your performance on how we can improve things, rather than you suck here, and then it's a matter of how you communicate. So at a high EQ, boss and colleague would then convey give the feedback in a most supportive manner for the colleagues, and also so that there's a difference between constructive versus destructive criticism, right? So the constructive would be given in terms of areas of opportunities for improvement, rather than you're just dumb. So okay.
Yes, Doctor. Let me share screen as well of the journal that you shared earlier. So this is the journal from Cognitive Therapy and Research
Yes.
by our doctor. Who talks
Yes.
about schema therapy, right, Doctor?
That's right. About schema and childhood core needs and all this, and also towards how we can cope better, with a more high EQ manner, right? So this was published a couple of years ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
So for those interested, you can type this DOI, you can read this, or you can text us, and we are happy to share with you on this journal. So with that, Doctor, I think we are coming to the end. Let me ask again if there's any other questions from the floor. Anyone? No, huh? All right. So if there's no questions, Doctor, any last words or any tips that you like to share regarding emotional intelligence? So basically, last words regarding today's webinar, Doctor.
Yeah. Although this webinar is mainly on how to apply EQ at the workplace, but in truth, EQ is important in our personal life as well, right? And in our family life, in our romantic relationship, right? As couple, yeah, it's all EQ. So I would recommend that we take up this, for those of us who are initiated, right, in this concept, to continue in the journey of increasing our EQ and helping those we are in contact with, our family members, our colleagues, to also give them the support to increase the EQ, so that the world, will be a more peaceful place. You see all the time, YouTube video, how people losing it and all this, right? I remember there was a video posted a couple of years ago from Hong Kong, and how this guy was like totally losing it in the tube station, in the underground tube, right? So we see that all the time. So war is based on low EQ, right? The Ukraine war and Russia, if everyone has a high EQ, that will not happen. So, but in our own part, we can do the little things to towards increasing our own EQ and then others that we come across in our family towards world peace, hopefully better world peace. Right.
Yes. Thank you so much, Doctor. I think you have beautifully stated how much this EQ is important, not only for yourself, not only for the surroundings, but also for the world peace. And I hope for those ladies and gentlemen who have been with us for this past 1 hour, you could understand now the importance of understanding and also regulating your emotion, how much it's not only affecting you, but also affecting those around you. So with that,
And one
yes,
one last thing. Sorry, I just know. And
go
of
ahead, Doctor.
course, high EQ is very much linked to since we are psychotherapists, counselors, psychologists, it's very much linked to mental health, right? So we already saw just now one of the elements is that was measured was optimism, right? Versus pessimism. If you're having a lower EQ, you'll be more pessimistic, that you're more vulnerable towards depression, right? And so forth. So yes, that will be the last bit, increasing your EQ would also then help you to be more resilient against mental disorders, right? Increase our mental well-being.
That's that's I think another highlight, a new highlight, Doctor. I was thinking, oh yeah, that's true. Thank you so much, Doctor. So with that, I'd like to extend my appreciation to each one of you. With all your questions, your active participation, and also to Dr. Edward Chan, who have passionate and have been dedicatedly sharing your knowledge with all of us. Thank you so much, Doctor. So it's been an honor and privilege to serve as your host through this webinar, and I hope that our paths will cross again in the future. Thank you so much, everyone. Good evening.
No
Thank
worries.
you.
Good evening. Have a good one.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye bye.
Thanks. Okay, bye. Thank you.
Bye.